And we're back. We're here with another mock draft. We have a 10-team PPR mock draft going on today. We decided to shorten the teams down a little bit. We're looking to get you guys in, get you guys out, everything you need to know real quick. Our roster construction here is going to be quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, tight end flex. That part is normal. That's pretty standard across all leagues. We axed out the defenses. We axed out kickers. And we're going with 5 bench spots. So that should let us get a little bit deeper into this draft without going too awfully far. All right, Kyle, you fired up?
I'm fired up. Let's do this.
Let's do it. Well, show me how fired up you are. You got the 2nd overall pick. Let's see what you got.
Not Christian McCaffrey. All right. I'm taking my number 2 running back, Alvin Kamara. I think he is just going to be lights out this year. You somehow got one of those guys. But I think Kamara is just – I think he's spectacular. He's my RB2. If I'm not getting McCaffrey, I'm getting Kamara, and I'm excited.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook fell to me. In full disclosure, sometimes when you're drafting with computers, some wacky things happen. So I'm just going to go ahead and put Dalvin Cook in. There's really not a shot he makes it out of the top 4. If he does, draft him immediately. If he really makes it past 3, draft him immediately. But I'm going to go ahead and take him out. I switched him for Nick Chubb, so Nick Chubb's now available. But for me personally, I think I'm actually going to start this off with a wide receiver, which is something I usually don't do. But in PPR, it feels like a great idea. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the number 1 overall receiver from last year with Davante Adams. I think he's nothing changed for him, really. He's still in a fantastic situation with one of the best quarterbacks in the league. And he's kind of got it made there. So my first pick is Davante Adams. And now looking at it, someone fell to me who I have pretty high in my ranks. I think I have him as, I want to say maybe the 7th or 8th overall running back. And judging the fact that he is going, let's see, that's 8, 9. He's going 10th off the board at running back. This is a no-brainer for me. I'm going Austin Eckler here.
Beautiful. Yeah, I am personally super high on the Chargers offense this year in fantasy. I want and love everybody on that team. But right here, I'm going to take my personal wide receiver 2, Calvin Ridley.
Beautiful.
I think he is just going to be the volume guy. When he was start of the season last year, he was the wide receiver 1.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's no Julio. Why can't he stay at that level? And I personally think he will be. So I love Ridley, and to stack him with Kamara,
that's a PPR dream.
Oh, yeah. Now, here is where I'm going to go a little bit different, and I'm going to take 2nd tight end off the board, Darren Waller. I am looking to make the PPR dream team here, and Darren Waller is the star of the show. He is Mr. PPR. He is Mr. Reception, Mr. Target. He is the Raiders offense. And yeah, I love the guy, and I personally love the idea of an early tight end draft strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And Waller is the perfect guy for that.
That's a hell of a 1, 2, 3 you got there. All right, so for me, I see George Kittle came back to me. Personally, I'm not the highest on George Kittle. I know he is a very, very consistent tight end. The injury scared me off a little bit last year, even though when he played, he was fantastic. But I'm actually going to veer away from him. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take another PPR guy here, and I'm going to take Justin Jefferson. I think to pair him with Davante Adams is a no-brainer, and that gives me a fantastic 1-2 punch at wide receiver. Now, at that, or with taking him, that does kind of leave me with the risk of possibly not getting as good of a second running back. But as I'm sitting here and I'm looking, one of my favorite running backs actually came back to me, and that's Chris Carson. I know, Kyle, you love Chris Carson too. And in PPR, he's not going to be as valuable of a pick as he would be in a standard league or in a half-point PPR because he doesn't get as many receptions. But he is still about as consistent an RB2 as you can possibly draft. So Chris Carson's where I'm going.
I'm looking at taking a receiver who has unreal potential to be a top 5 guy and that is CeeDee Lamb. I think with Dak Prescott starting in this offense, CeeDee can be like I said, a top 5 guy, if not the number one. I think the volume for him, the productivity on this offense, just kind of how he's not the only weapon on that team, sets him up to be magnificent. And just watching him play all preseason, he's a monster. And I think he'll have a monster year this year.
Especially getting his quarterback back with Dak. He was undeniably better with Dak than he was without Dak last year. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention you have like my dream second, third, and fourth round right here. I love Ridley, love Waller, love Lamb. The only thing maybe you would have fixed is if you got Montgomery in there somehow, you would be cooking. Let me tell you.
That would be the dream team. But right now I'm going to take a guy that I'm not insanely in love with this year, but I think his potential is pretty damn solid. And that is running back Miles Sanders. I think on a team where Jalen Hurts is the starting quarterback, and Miles Sanders can be that starting bell cow guy that they want him to be, but hasn't really been yet. I think this offense can be more productive than we've seen in previous years. So I think Sanders provides a great upside with this draft value.
Absolutely, and getting him in the 5th round, that's fantastic value. So for me here, I am looking at, I have 2 quarterbacks staring me in the eyes. I have Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson, and they crossed my mind. Both of them did. I would be lying if I said they didn't, but I'm personally going to secure up my flex spot with another huge PPR guy, and that is going to be Robert Woods. I think he has a fantastic opportunity being in Los Angeles with Matt Stafford this year. Stafford loves to spread the wealth, so I think that he is going to see a ton of targets. And actually, I was kind of keeping an eye. That's why I wasn't paying full attention there. I wanted to see if my dude came back here, and he did. I'm taking James Robinson with this pick. He gives me some security with that Chris Carson pick in case maybe he gets banged up or he misses some time. So I'm going to go Chris Carson. I'm going to go James Robinson here.
Oh,
Kyle, it's like we have we traded personalities for this draft. I got Eckler, I got Carson, I got Robinson. I know those are all your dudes, and you got Lamb, you got Ridley. Oh man,
we're drafting each other's perfect team.
We are.
But I was really banking on Gaskin making it back to me. I'm actually surprised Team 6 didn't take a second running back, but everybody has their own strategies. But in a way, I am going to pivot slightly, not really, and take another running back that I'm slightly higher on than others, and that is Javonte Williams. I think this offense in Denver with Teddy B at quarterback, I think they take a special jump forward. And Javonte, I think, has the skill set. I've seen plenty of camp reports that he is going to be the guy. And Melvin will obviously still be there a little bit. But I think he kind of is their main guy and will see plenty of work to be fantasy productive.
Definitely. Yeah, agree with you there.
And then I mentioned this earlier, but I'm very high on this offense. And because of that, I'm going to take QB Justin Herbert. I can say plenty of good things about Austin Eckler. I can say just as many good things about Keenan Allen. And you can't say those good things without saying how special Justin Herbert is, especially in fantasy. He is productive. He's great. He scored tons of points last year, and I think he kind of jumps into 2021 with that same amount of volume.
Yeah, I'm going to be quite frank. He's actually one of my outside favorites for MVP this season. I think he's going to take the leap. I know that's kind of a bold call, but he doesn't have the best defenses in the world in his division that he gets to see 6 times a year. The Las Vegas defense is okay. The Chiefs defense is okay. The Broncos is probably the best defense of the 3. But still, I think he can put up some huge numbers, especially in like shootout games against the Chiefs or shootout games against the Chargers. I mean the Raiders, because we know the Raiders love to get in shootouts. So, all right. So for me here, this is really kind of like the murky part of the draft for me. This like 60 to 75 ish off the board. There's just a lot of names that really, really aren't inspiring to me in here. I'm looking at like Kenny Galladay, Odell, Juju, Noah Fant is a guy in this range. If you're looking for an upside tight end, I understand that, but he's just not my cup of tea. And I kind of settle on Chase Edmonds at this point here. I know I'm going RB heavy, but I don't think you can ever have too many running backs. So he is who I'm going to go with. If my Robinson experiment doesn't work out, my Carson experiment doesn't work out, I kind of have Chase Edmonds to fall back on. And I see Melvin Gordon just went too. He's kind of in that same ballpark where he's a very, very solid backup option if your top options don't work out. So that's where I'm going there. And now I am looking for my next pick. And let me tell you, it is hairy in receiver world right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a guy who was very, very good in the last season that he played, which was actually 2019, where he finished as, oh goodness, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to give that to you off the top of my head. Long story short, you know what? He finished as the wide receiver 19 in PPR. Okay, and that was his sophomore season, so he was kind of fresh into the league. Now he's got 4 years under his belt, or this will be year 4, and that's no one else other than Cortland Sutton. As you mentioned earlier, Kyle, Teddy Bridgewater supported 3 top-end wide receivers when he was in Carolina, so he's definitely capable of doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and take him and hope for the best. And yeah, I'm going Sutton.
And for those exact same reasons, I am taking the guy that I am a little bit higher on, Jerry Jeudy. I think Teddy, like we both said, Teddy can provide the productivity that is needed to sustain more than just one receiver.
Definitely.
And I personally see Jeudy as that number 1 receiver. I know you personally see Cortland Sutton as that guy.
Yeah.
But realistically, it could be both. They both have the skill set to be those wide receiver 2s that you get as wide receiver 6s.
I kind of see like almost like a Lamb, a CeeDee Lamb, Amari Cooper type dynamic. They both can be very, very good.
Yes.
One of them might not be the number 2 overall receiver, in the league, but they both are very capable of being number 10 and number 12 or number 14 and number 17, being very, very solid options.
Yes. Now I am going to draft for upside right here. And it's a little bit of a reach based on these ranks, but, I personally would rank him higher than everybody else here, so I'm going to take him. Laviska Shenault. I think he has the potential to be a lot more than what he currently is. And with this offense, that should be better. We have no proof of that yet. But I think Trevor Lawrence is definitely a step up from Gardner, and hopefully this offense makes that step up as well. And I think Shenault, he's going to ball out.
Yeah, I like Shenault. It's for Jacksonville, it's really going to be picking whoever is that wide receiver 1, because there's definitely value there. All right, for me, I am going to go with my quarterback here, and I'm going to grab a guy that I really like getting late, not super late, I guess, but I'm going to go with Matt Stafford. I'm able to stack him with Robert Woods, like I mentioned earlier. I'm very happy about that. And actually, my dude who I wanted second here fell back to me. I took a risk that he was going to last through the turn, and he did. And I kind of look like a crackhead here for taking my 5th running back. But hey, I'm doing it. Can't have too much depth at running back. I'm going Damian Harris. He's definitely going to benefit from the Cam Newton cutting. Mac Jones is not a mobile quarterback, and Cam was definitely going to steal some of those goal line carries. And Harris is a huge dude. So now that Cam is gone, they're good. They're not going to sneak the ball with Mac Jones too awful much. They're going to hand it to their bulldozer, let him plow in. So I'm kind of in a way tasting a LeGarrette Blount, like circa 2014 season or whenever that was, where he just had like 19 touchdowns. I'm just seeing him be that dude that plows the ball in at the goal line. So sign me up for that, especially in the 10th round.
So I'm going to take a guy who I think also has insane upside and is being drafted way too low. And that is Will Fuller. Uh, I think he just kind of has a season I that we're disappointed that we didn't see coming earlier.
Hmm.
And I'm not even going to talk about the Deshaun Watson trade rumors. This is strictly if Tua is that quarterback. I still think Will Fuller is a guy that Miami went out and got because he fits a system that Tua is primed for. And I think Fuller comes back from suspension, healthy and ready to be Will Fuller.
Hmm.
And I think he is being drafted way too low. And he's just a guy I've been taking advantage of in these drafts and drafting him so late.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
and another guy, I'm going to go wide receiver heavy because these late receivers are incredible. And I'm going to take Michael Pittman. I think he will be the wide receiver one in Indy. He whoever is quarterback there, whether it's Carson or I'm blanking on the other quarterback that is currently ready to be their starter.
Oh, that's
Eason?
Jacob Eason or oh, I'm not going to be able to come up with the other Sam Ellinger from Texas. I think is the
Yeah.
third string. So it's going to be one of the two of them if it's not Carson.
But I know that second year wide receivers that's the breakout year for plenty of receivers, and Pittman is entering his second season, and to be the wide receiver one in Indianapolis, I think he can totally outperform this ADP in the 11th round. Absolutely, give him to me.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm on board with that too. I thought you were going to go with Corey Davis there. I know you're a big fan of Corey Davis, and he's really kind of been buzzing in the industry recently. He's been a big name. He's a huge wide receiver. He's going to be probably Zach Wilson's favorite target. I think Elijah Moore holds a lot of value too. He's still on the board here, but in the position I'm in, I have to take a tight end still. And quite honestly, if I'm going to be completely frank, I think I waited too long on my tight end. I really love that range of Tunyon, of Goddard, Gesicki, and Logan Thomas. And unfortunately, I waited a couple picks too long here. So I'm actually going to end up with Tyler Higbee, who I don't think is a terrible pick. I think he does offer some very solid upside, especially with being the only show in LA. I just also realized that I now have three Rams in my starting offense, so that's something. But if he pans out, just think of it. The only touchdowns I'm not getting from the Rams offense are the ones that are going to Cooper Cup. So I can't argue with that, I guess. And for my last pick here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my lottery ticket. I'm going to scroll down here in the ranks, and I'm going to go ahead and take Marquez Callaway. He is one of my favorite guys to grab late round. He looked fantastic in the preseason. And it's no secret that Jameis Winston is going to sling the ball. And since he has been announced as the starter for the Saints, I'm looking for whoever is going to be his go-to guy, whoever is going to be his Mike Evans when he used to be in Tampa Bay. So it looks like it might be Callaway. So I'm going to go ahead with my last pick. Why not? I'm going to take Marquez Callaway.
And I'm going to take a guy that I can look at my several drafts I had this past weekend and see the same name on each of those teams because I think he has the potential to he's not going to be outstanding. He's not going to be spectacular. I just think he is almost guaranteed to outperform this ADP as a running back this late, and that's Jamal Williams. I think him and Swift. This is not to say Swift is going to get hurt. I really hope he doesn't, or stay hurt, whatever. I think this is going to be a backfield that isn't a 100% one guy backfield. I don't think Detroit brought in Jamal Williams to be a backup. I think they saw what he was doing in Green Bay as that
Mm-hmm.
1-2 punch with Aaron Jones, and so they brought him in to do the exact same thing with DeAndre Swift. So I love snagging Jamal Williams, and in this particular draft in the final round, I think he is a lottery ticket to be a solid flex when you need him. And that's really all he needs to be when you're drafting him so late.
Yeah, and just to kind of cap off that late running back thing, I think there's a lot of guys. Usually, you're like, oh, it's just handcuffs. They're never going to play, only if the guys get hurt. But I think there's a lot of guys in the late rounds this year that have a lot of standalone value. I think AJ Dillon. I think Jamal Williams. I think JD McKissick. Even like a Naeem Hines is going to see his fair share of targets and workload. So it's not necessarily like you need to load up running back early. You can get some guys late still, and they can provide great value to your team. Those bye weeks or you get an injury, plug them in, and you're still going to be happy with them, I think. So, all right, Kyle. Well, that wraps us up. That was a quick 10-team PPR mock. You got anything else to add?
No, I think this team that I personally drafted is beautiful. I love yours as well. Oh, yeah, I think we drafted each other's perfect team, but in the same regard.
Yeah, we definitely did, especially like rounds 1 through like 6 or 7. I think we were spot on with each other's teams. When you took Herbert, that was the cherry on top.
Well, let me tell you, seeing James Robinson and Chase Edmonds back to back, that is my dream in those rounds.
Yeah. All right. Well, we are going to go ahead and we're going to wrap this up for the video. We will post this up on Instagram. You guys can find us. You can see at the bottom there, we are at First Seed Sports, _sports. Sorry. And we'll go ahead and we'll put a poll up with this. You guys can vote on who you thought had the better team out of the two of us. And until next time, that's all we got. We're First Seed Sports checking out. See you guys.
See you.